The reality is Discovery, I think, very correctly recognized that they weren't big enough. They needed more scale. That's why they're doing the Warner Media transaction to create, essentially what's going to be called Warner Bros. Discovery. They needed this. I mean, look, the direct to consumer is scaling, but it's certainly not scaling exponentially given how early. It's not like they're going, they were at 13 million subs last quarter. They finished this quarter with 17. A lot of that's probably overseas. This is not, I just think when you look at this stage of the life cycle of the streaming platform, it should be vertical if this was going to be something that was going to look like Netflix, but it was never going to be. This was never planned. Just Discovery's content is just too limited. But when you put it together with Warner Media and you create a more robust streaming service, that's how you try to attack the Netflixes, the Hulu, Disney Pluses of the world. And so I think all the reasons why you're merging these companies still make a ton of sense. I think it's unfortunate we probably have to wait another year, for this to finally close. But the reality is scale is what's important. I think we keep hearing that term over and over again, Andrew, of just everybody needs more scale, more content. I mean, you mentioned in the teaser, Reese Witherspoon. I mean, I think everybody is sort of looking for how do they get more content to fight the increasing battle in the streaming wars, which is just, look, people want to, people are using content as that sort of, way to get in the door to get consumers to sign up. You need lots of content and you need a lot more, you need a cadence that is much, much more rapid. It's not like you can have one show a month the way you might have been able to survive in the old cable ecosystem. You need new content every single day, every single week.
Rich, let me just ask you one other Discovery question, then I want to get into the content story, which is I noted the Olympics, Tokyo Olympics, in the context of the Discovery earnings report. There's been a lot of questions about what ratings look like, not just here in the United States on NBC Universal, our parent company, of course, owned by Comcast, but of course, similarly in Europe and elsewhere where Discovery, where those rights matter to them. Do you think there's going to be make goods that are going to be required? And what do you think when we look back at this a month or two from now and look at all the numbers, what's it going to look like?
Look, I think Discovery's in a pretty different position than NBC. It's not like it's spread. I mean, the rights, yes, in Europe, you have local broadcasters that have, by law, have to have access to some of the top events in their country. But the reality is Eurosport, which is part of Discovery Plus in Europe, actually is a destination for everything. Like every single Olympic event is available on Discovery Plus / the Eurosport players. So they're in a slightly better position in terms of the consumer offering. On the flip side, I think interest in the Olympics in Europe is a little less than it is in the US. But look, I think the larger problem, Andrew, is TV ratings are collapsing. I mean, sort of the story that's not being told in all of these earnings reports. This is not just Discovery. This is Warner Media. This is across the whole spectrum. Advertising revenues are actually lower in 2021, despite this massive surge. They're lower than they were in 2019. So huge rebound, but the reality is the ratings problems, the departure of eyeballs is something every company is dealing with, including the Olympics. I mean, we've seen it with sports. You and I have talked about this on air. This is this is not just the Olympics. This is consumers are just spending a lot less time watching TV domestically and around the world. That's the real challenge all of these companies are facing. And that's why they're all pushing so hard into streaming. So look, will there be make goods? I don't know. I think it's probably likely there'll be some, probably less so of an issue for Discovery than it is for NBC. I think the bigger question is, what do you pay for these sports rights if eyeballs keep going down and down and down? I think that's the much bigger question everyone needs to be thinking about. Well,
Rich, the good news is more people are watching us on Squawk, so we can be happy about that this morning. But let me ask you separately about this Reese Witherspoon transaction with Blackstone, with, Kevin Mayer, Tom Staggs, and what you think that means, because it's the idea of effectively creating an independent studio all over again at a time when everybody wants content. But if you could take Reese Witherspoon and you could actually bundle up a bunch of other stars into a new independent studio system, do you think the Netflixes of the world and the Warner Medias decide they have to do business with them? Is that the model?
They already were doing business. I mean, look at the bidding war for the morning show that Apple ended up winning. And, you look at a lot of the content that Hello Sunshine. I mean, they make content essentially for everyone. I mean, they have shows on Netflix. They have shows on Amazon. Obviously, some of the shows they have on HBO. There is a tremendous amount of content spread across many platforms. But again, I want to focus. It's not just a video company. I mean, they've been able to sort of, I think Reese with her book club, being able to drive books and try to select books, create awareness, then turn those books into TV or movie products. There's sort of an omni-channel approach where you're trying to have content everywhere and have it all work together. I think that concept, and then trying to say, okay, all of these studios are vertically integrating. Disney's only trying to buy from Disney. Warner Brothers is moving more insular. Can we be sort of an arms dealer and serve everybody? There's this global thirst for content.